I just want a lot of money and a lot of attention. And my character's in this position where nothing is, he's put $400 million into trying to make this work. Nothing's working in his company. He's about to lose it. And then he hears about Clifford, the big red dog. And dollar signs just start swirling around because he thinks he can get this guy's genetic pool, this dog's genetic pool, and figure out how it's done. And so his goal is to capture Clifford. And he kind of just starts lying, saying that he owns Clifford when obviously he doesn't. So he's on a chase. My assistant is Albert, who's played by the very funny Alex Moffat, and who's just a lap dog, kind of. I just abuse him. And then my other assistant, Colette, is played by Jessica Keenan Wynn. And they're just both hilarious. So we kind of have this real evil trio going around. And the fact is, it's really fun to play evil. I don't get to play evil a lot. I typically play the kind of beaten up, wide-eyed, gullible, emasculated, quirky sidekick. And so it's kind of fun to be he's the terror, which is nice. Walt, the director, he has a real appreciation for comedy. And so, I don't know, he also appreciates a good ensemble. You know, it's not about just bringing in one big comic name or whatever. It's like, you know, really balancing it out with many different comic personalities. And so, like, when you bring in someone like John Cleese, who's an absolute legend, David Alan Grier, Alex Moffat, it's this mix of just so many comic personalities. And I love how that kind of creates its own, that recipe creates its own dish. You know, it's fun to have so many different aspects come together. He is all about bigger is better. It's more money. It's everything. It's the show. It's the facade, the pomp and circumstance. And then you have Emily's character that's just the simple love of an animal and the simplicity of her life and the truth in that, you know, of just kind of look at our society where just everybody's just craving for that next big thing, more and more and more. And, you know, at the end of your life, you look back and it's always the simple stuff that matter the most. There's a beautiful speech that Emily gives. It starts off with the uniqueness of Clifford and then just grows into the fact of, you know, pretty much, not to make a very simple thing, but just kind of celebrating our differences and coming together in our differences rather than letting them separate us. Clifford, I also have a 13-year-old, so we grew up on Clifford the Big Red Dog. And I think this is what I get the biggest kick out of is, you know, many times a lot of work you're really trying to find the truth in it, and it sometimes can get kind of heavy, even if it's comedy, or sometimes drama can get really heavy. And something like this simple truth about a large red dog and the love of this red dog in a children's movie, and just the colors and the joy, you know, and the scale. I mean, it's just like flat out fun to do. With the kind of comic pool that Walt's brought together, it's going to be hopefully incredibly entertaining to adults. You know, you have someone like John Cleese, you have someone like David Alan Grier. I mean, these guys are just like brilliant comics. And so it's going to be funny. But in terms of kind of a message piece, I think, I don't know, I don't want to simplify it too much, but there really is a lot of truth in just what our society craves for all the time, and what we're putting as an idol of like more and more and more everything, and we're missing the forest for the trees. We're missing missing the simplicity in life, the simple truths, you know, of this, the love and joy of this dog and his relationship with Emily, and the gold in that. And so we're kind of, our society just, and granted, me included, I mean, you can just completely lose focus of what matters. What I so appreciate about Walt is we've all heard stories of directors who, you know, they have authority, but the way they have authority is by kind of putting people down, or, you know, being arrogant and all this kind of stuff, and kind of abusing their power a little bit. Walt's just the opposite. Just his kindness everybody, he has the authority he needs to be the director, but he captains his ship with integrity. And that to me carries way over into just the vibe on the set, how the work is then seen. It makes a big difference. I'm just absolutely fascinated by what they can do with technology. And just, I've seen some images on the computer of how Clifford is going to be running through the New York streets